Welcome back to the 360 Sports Network. I'm Greg Bashir with James Dotson, and we are going to have a Final Four preview show tonight. And, oh, what a tournament it has been, James. James, have you ever seen anything quite like this?
Not anywhere close. I mean, we thought it was crazy a few years ago when an 11 seed in Georgia Mason can make it to the Final Four. Now you're talking a team winning 5 games and as an 11 seed to make it, and then another team as an 8 seed also making the Final Four, and one of them having to make the championship game. I'm speechless. I don't know what's going to happen next Saturday.
Yeah, it's unprecedented. We have Virginia Commonwealth University, 11th seed, whose coach, by the way, is only 33 years old, in the Final Four. They're in the Colonial Athletic Association, and they're squaring off against Butler, the number 8 seed. And Butler has just been unprecedented this year. Their coach, also a very young 34 years old. This is his second Final Four in 2 years, back-to-backs, which really puts Butler right square on the map here, squaring off against each other here in the Final Four down there in Houston.
Oh, this is every mid-major team's dream to be able to see just one team in Butler making the Final Four last year. Now to see them both make the Final Four and guaranteed a mid-major team in the championship game for the second year in a row. Shaka Smart and Brad Stevens, two coaches for VCU and Butler, have just done incredible jobs with their teams this year. And especially, I like to look at Brad Stevens. His team, in my mind, plays so smart out on the court. I mean, they know exactly who needs to get the ball, who they need to foul. And then in the last game, with 3 seconds left, Butler player grabs a rebound, knows exactly how much time is on the court, and just throws the ball the length of the court, knowing that time is going to run out. I've never seen a team as smart as the Butler Bulldogs, and that's why, honestly, I think they are my pick right now to win it all here next week in Houston.
But you know what? The way VCU has played, and just shocking, the Kansas team today. I wouldn't put it past VCU to stage an upset here either, although I would have to give the edge. I would have to somewhat agree with you, though. I think I have to give the edge back to the Butler team because they've been there before, and they're going to do it again. So with that said, I do have to tip my head toward the Butler team. But going over to the other side of the bracket, you've got Kentucky just completely shocking Ohio State, and then moving on, and from that, just totally amazed me because I really thought North Carolina was going to pull this thing out, and when I saw the final score, I was just, my jaw dropped. John Calipari's crew. Can this be redemption time for John Calipari?
Oh, without a doubt. He's been sort of on the hot seat pretty much since he got into Kentucky. Coming from Memphis, bringing a bunch of big-name recruits that he had coming into Memphis last year, bringing them to Kentucky, along with a couple new ones who were already coming to Kentucky. Last year's freshman class was probably the absolute greatest freshman class you'll ever see in college basketball history. And that team lost, I believe, in the Sweet 16 or Elite 8. That team is supposedly on paper 10 times as good as the team Kentucky has right now. But Calipari has turned this team into a late season bloomer, and one of the big reasons has been Brandon Knight. He's come absolutely unconscious in a couple of these tournament games. He scored 30 versus West Virginia, 22 tonight versus North Carolina. And if he continues to play like this, it's going to be a Knight versus Kemba Walker show down in Texas.
Yeah. And then we have to go down and take a look and see basically what Connecticut has done. Connecticut, the only Big East team right now to make it this far, and actually the only Big East team to really actually play well enough to advance deep into the tournament itself. Connecticut shocking San Diego State, my pick, to actually win it all by beating them 74-67. But then against Arizona, that Arizona team really was a strong team, I thought, and of course they beat them by 2 points, 65-63. Calhoun, do you think he's got enough? Do you think he's got enough there with his team to actually beat Kentucky to go to the finals?
I think they definitely can, and I think the main reason is because UConn has shown they can be something beyond just Kemba Walker. Yeah, Kemba has been averaging just under 27 points a game in the tournament, but you got to look at especially their secondary scorer, Jeremy Lamb, who's scoring 18 a game here in the tournament. So I think the fact that Kemba Walker has just been able to get to the rim at will, has been making every jump shot, and is pretty much perfect from the foul line. And then if they want to try to take Kemba away, Jeremy Lamb is always going to be right there, scoring up to 20 points a game almost every night as well. I think the diversity in UConn's offense is what will give them the edge over Kentucky.
Okay, now here it is, truth time. What do you think? Who's it going to be in the final here?
Oh, I think in the Butler VCU matchup, I think it's going to be interesting. You have Shelvin Mack, who's insane from outside. He's scoring 21 points a game in the tournament. Then you got Virginia Commonwealth, who is shooting probably, I think 40%, I think was the number I just saw, from three-point range. And they have three scorers in Jamie Skeen, Bradford Burgess, and Brandon Roselle off the bench, who are scoring around 15 points a game. So they're getting a diverse method of scoring. Thing is, they're living and dying by the three, and we saw from Kansas today, if you have one bad game from outside, you're going to go down in this tournament. And Butler's defense has just been so outstanding throughout this entire tournament that I don't see how, especially if it's going to be a close game, I don't see how Butler can lose this game. So I have them moving on.
Okay, I agree with you with Butler there with VCU, and here's the thing too: if you live by the three, you're definitely going to die by the three. West Virginia has proven that year in and year out in previous years, and I would have to agree. Butler's defense has been consistently blistering, and I would agree with you there. Go ahead.
No, you got it exactly right. Live and die by the three. Notre Dame also proved that, and well, Pitt does it every year just with the jumper in general. So, but yeah, living and dying by the three is what is making this tournament especially so interesting. But yeah, on the other side with Kentucky versus Connecticut, I see another tight game. I think Connecticut, though, they are on an amazing winning streak right now, and they're just hot right now. I don't know how I could pick against them, especially the way Kemba Walker is playing. Since the Big East tournament began, he has scored at least 18 points in every game. And that in and of itself, along with averaging 5 assists a game, you can't beat Kemba Walker when he can beat anybody one-on-one, dish it to a teammate, and have it in the hoop. So I have them beating Kentucky, actually, I think by a double-digit margin.
Wow. Okay, so in the finals, you're having Connecticut versus Butler, and of course, who do you tip your hat to this one?
It's every analyst's dream to have another David versus Goliath like we had last year. Butler came up short last year against Duke, missing a half-court shot off back iron as time expired. This year, I'm going to give it to him. I'm going to say that I can't pick against Butler the way they're playing. They have not lost a game since they lost to Youngstown State back in mid-February. So I think Brad Stevens, absolutely incredible coach that he is, I think he gets his team to the national championship and brings it home for the Butler Bulldogs.
You know, I would have to agree with you on that assessment, although I would like to see Connecticut, personally speaking, I'd like to see the Big East actually get the championship, considering that they had 11 teams going into this thing. At least there'd be a little bit of indication for that particular conference. But I would have to agree with you, though. The mid-majors teams between VCU and Butler, they have actually gone out there and have recruited heavily, and they're actually showing a lot of these big conference teams out there, hey, you know, we're a force to be reckoned with. And with that said, you take a look at the talented play. They say offenses win games, but defenses win championships. And, you know, with Butler's team, the defensive prowess of Butler it's just been outstanding throughout this entire tournament. Shelvin Mack is in a league of his own. This guy is going to be a superstar out there. Mark my word on this. So I would agree. I think Butler is going to be in that against Connecticut in the final. And I see an upset there. I see a mid-major team winning it all.
When you got a team like Butler who plays so smart, especially, that's a trait that a lot of teams, a lot of analysts just overlook. They can have all the talent in the world, but when you have a team that Brad Stevens has created to be so athletically well out, as you can see from Howard and Mack, but also so sports smart to know exactly what to do in what situation, it's a tough team to go against, and it's a shame that it took a second run to the Final Four for everybody to start jumping on the Butler bandwagon, and myself included. But I'm definitely jumped on the bandwagon now, seeing as I had them losing in the first round to Old Dominion, and now I have them winning the national championship in my predictions.
Yep. Who says lightning doesn't strike twice? Well, with that said, join us when we have our final recap as we go into the final game to discuss this. So stay tuned.
Until then, enjoy the games, and we'll see if it's a Bulldog or if it's a Husky that ends up out on top.
And we'll have a psychiatrist on staff to examine all this madness that we're experiencing in March.
But now it's shown.